What is up, guys? Welcome back to S3M2 Football and welcome to today's football preview video. There are some major fixtures kicking off this weekend, but one of them, and I think perhaps one of the most important, has got to be the EFL or Carabao Cup final that is kicking off this week Sunday on the 16th of March at Wembley. This final sees Liverpool go head-to-head with Newcastle United. We start off our team analysis here with Liverpool. The last 5 fixtures for the Reds have ended in 4 wins and 1 loss. Unfortunately, Liverpool's last match was that 1-0 loss against PSG in the Champions League at Anfield that unfortunately saw the match end 1-1 on aggregate, and the Reds were eliminated after extra time 4-1 on penalties. But in their last 5 fixtures, Arne Slot's team have scored 8 goals and conceded just 2. A player who contributes a lot to Liverpool's attacking threat has got to be Uruguayan centre-forward Darwin Núñez. In 39 appearances, Núñez has just 7 goals and 7 assists, but he's definitely operating as the target man at Anfield right now. Darwin Núñez has really good chemistry with everybody, but he shows a lot of desire when it comes to chasing down the ball as well. I think even if he does struggle with consistency, nobody can really question his work ethic on the pitch. Speaking of work ethic, the next player I want to talk about is Japanese defensive midfielder Wataru Endo. In 26 appearances, Endo has no goals or assists, but he's the box-to-box midfield element at Liverpool. He's the player who does all of that running, all of that chasing the ball down, showing a lot of strength but energy and never really getting enough credit for it. Wataru Endo for me is that player who comes off the bench and tries to just put a bit of extra force on the game for Liverpool in the midfield, just trying to squeeze the ball and win it back as soon as he can. Speaking of squeezing the ball in the backline for Liverpool, I want to talk about French centre-back Ibrahima Konate. In 33 appearances, Konate has 2 goals and 2 assists, and when I look at Konate, I see a very quick, aggressive centre-back, but he's also very good at reading the game. Konate as well struggles with consistency, but I think on his day, he's definitely one of the best centre-backs in world football right now. Tactically at Liverpool, coach Arne Slot likes his team to play on the counter-attack. Liverpool's forwards have loads of pace and energy pretty much everywhere in their attacking third. In order to capitalize on this, we have seen this team line up in a 4-2-3-1 formation. Mohamed Salah usually plays on the right, with Darwin Núñez at that number 9 position playing as the target man. Dominic Szoboszlai then plays behind Darwin Núñez and next to Mohamed Salah as that central playmaker in that number 10 role. Behind Szoboszlai, we see 2 defensive midfielders in either Alexis McAllister, Wataru Endo or Ryan Gravenberch. But those 2 defensive midfielders know that their job is just to look after the back line, win the ball back and cycle it forward as soon and as efficiently as they possibly can. For Newcastle United, the last 5 fixtures for the Geordies have ended in 2 wins and 3 losses. Newcastle's last match, thankfully, was a 1-0 win away at West Ham United in the Premier League last weekend. And in their last 5 fixtures, Eddie Howe's team have scored 6 goals, but they've conceded 11. A large contributor to the goals for Newcastle this season has got to be Swedish centre-forward Alexander Isak. In 32 appearances, Isak has 22 goals and 5 assists, and he is the out-and-out centre-forward and target man at Newcastle United. Alexander Isak is strong, he's quick, he's direct, and he's a very lethal finisher. Doing a lot of the work in midfield, I want to talk about Brazilian central midfielder Joelinton. In 31 appearances, Joelinton has 4 goals and 1 assist, and when I look at him, I see the workhorse at Newcastle. He's the player who does all of the running for them in midfield, looking to support the attack, looking to break down opposition attacks, but always displaying tons of stamina and energy, always ready to put in an extra shift for his teammates. One of those teammates that he has a very good connection with is another Brazilian in defensive midfielder Bruno Guimarães. In 36 appearances, Guimarães has 3 goals and 8 assists, and for me, Guimarães is the destroyer in midfield for Newcastle. He's the player doing all of the tackling, so he's very physical, very aggressive, but he's also the captain in this team. And when his teammates look at him and see the amount of effort he's putting into the game, it just motivates and inspires them to find an extra gear. Tactically for Newcastle, this team likes to stay stable in the center. Coach Eddie Howe likes his team to attack using the counter-attacking strategy, and they look to take advantage of spaces in those wider areas. The strong center forwards like Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson are able to hold their own regardless of how strong the center backs that they're up against happen to be. Newcastle United generally line up in a 4-3-3 formation with a trio of midfielders who are very efficient at winning the ball back. Those three midfielders being Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton and Sandro Tonali. And all of those players understand that they need to look after the defense, but they also need to provide ammunition for those very quick, very strong forward players. Looking at the head-to-head between these two teams, the last 5 fixtures between Liverpool and Newcastle United have ended in 4 wins for the Reds and then just 1 draw. So absolutely no wins for Newcastle, a very, very intimidating task ahead of them. In terms of goal output in those last 5 meetings, Liverpool have hit the back of the net 13 times, while Newcastle have scored just 6 times. So in terms of goal output as well, it does look like Liverpool are doing a lot better in this one. If we look at the last fixture that was played between these two teams being in February, I think in the last week, it did end 2-0 to Liverpool, but it was played at Anfield, and we all know how difficult Liverpool are to deal with when they're playing at home. Newcastle definitely do want some payback. They've dumped out Arsenal and Chelsea en route to come into this final, and I think they already know what it's like to be a giant slaying team. They're out of the FA Cup, having been dumped out earlier this month, so this is in essence their last chance for silverware this season. For Liverpool, obviously they're not happy with their Champions League defeat against PSG. It was at home at Anfield. They came into it as massive favourites, and somehow they let it slip away from them. They're still first in the Premier League, which means they still have a very good chance of lifting at least that trophy. I don't think anybody's going to catch them, but they're going to want more. Without players like Trent Alexander-Arnold and Joe Gomez in their defense through injury, it might be a little difficult for Liverpool to just remain defensively solid. Their players are also probably going to be very, very tired after extra time and penalties against PSG, so I think that means that fatigue does play a big role in this one as well. Newcastle, on the other hand, do have a very well-rested team. They didn't play in the week in European competition, so I think Eddie Howe's team are more than ready for what comes up next. They don't really find themselves in very good form up front. They're without Lascelles at centre-back, and Anthony Gordon is suspended for this match, so Newcastle do have a bit of an issue both defensively and offensively. They do have other players who can come off the bench and just change a game for them, but I think these two players in particular did play a lot of emphasis in what this team was trying to do going forward. I think though Liverpool have still been a very free scoring team, that duck against PSG was the first time in 8 games that Liverpool have not scored, so this team knows how to score. You couple that with the fact that Newcastle have not kept a clean sheet against Liverpool in those last 5 fixtures, and it doesn't look good for Eddie Howe's team. I think as hard as they might play, as much self-belief as they might have, I think on paper Newcastle are just not at the same level as Liverpool, but I think physically Liverpool are still very, very tired. I think mental fatigue also probably plays a big role in it, having to go out week in and week out and perform at this highest level with all of this expectation upon you. And we saw Liverpool crumble against Plymouth in the FA Cup, and now against PSG in the Champions League. I don't think that will be the case here. I think Liverpool know that they can start off Arne Slot's campaign and his tenure at Liverpool with a trophy, and they want to do that as soon as possible. I fully expect them to come out on top here, and I do think my score prediction for this one is going to be Liverpool 2, Newcastle 0.
Hi, thank you for making it to the end of this video. We really appreciate the watch time and the fact that you took some time out of your day to spend it with us talking about the sport that we all love. If you enjoyed the content, why not, drop a like down below or comment in the comment section. maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. And I mean, while you are here right now, have a look at some of our old videos too. They should be appearing on the screen right now, along with that subscribe button. So you know exactly what to do. Um, thank you so much. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And have a great day out there. And we hope to see you again very, very soon. Thanks. Stay safe.